I think, or I would assume, we are live. Buenas. Never a good sign if I'm already starting off with the water. But I don't have my lemon water today because we actually ate lunch early. But yeah, too much story time, too early. I'll wait for everyone to join. Everyone who can make it today. Buenas, buenas, hello. I should open up the stream over here as well, as I usually do, so that way I have it in two places. I like to be able to manage it a little bit more like that, although I feel like camera's kind of close, like that, right? Okay, we're definitely live. I have to make sure the audio is good. I did set it up to public. Yes, it is good. Well, according to this, there wasn't and there wasn't. Okay, hello. According to the dashboard that I have here, the audio should be going through. Let me know. Okay, yeah. Because I just got echo on my on my phone, and it sounds good. I guess I don't know if I have to like always keep the. If I always have to keep this on, keep this open, the OBS. But yeah, buenas, hello, Alexandra, buenas. How's it going? Miss Grassroots, hello. Golan, how's it going? Then there was an audio. Last words, my audio is good. You're back. All right, cool. So we got the audio back. I was playing around with it, but it's weird because when I don't know if it's because like when I leave OBS, I feel like the audio just stops working. But if I turn on the desktop audio, then it's going to echo and it sounds terrible when it echoes. So I want to avoid that. I'll just have to make sure that when I switch, because when I want to open up the tabs, so I can show you guys some of the news, some of the things we're going to talk about today, I'll have to make sure to coordinate it well, so I don't like speak and in the middle of speaking, like everything goes away. So yeah, buenas, hello. I hope everyone is doing well, having an excellent weekend. We have a few things, nothing too severe this time to cover. I mean, we could go into covering more severe things, but I think I already talked a lot when I said, when I made my video last week about should you visit Ecuador, which is basically just an update video to the should you visit Ecuador in 2024 video that I made at the beginning of the year. And it is kind of true in the sense at the beginning of the year, what I said in the video, was very true, that you had to see how the year progressed. And the year progressed and it just didn't progress well, unfortunately. but there's still the possibility of visiting. Like I said in my video, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, you can visit. You're just gonna have to take precautions, which I feel like is always my tip, my hint, what I tell everyone to do, because I mean, why not? If you can play it safe and stay safe, why not do so? But yeah, we're going to talk about a few different things today. Just waiting to see if anyone else wants to join. I do realize this might have caught some people by surprise because I was planning on streaming on Sunday, but I'm kind of teetering on whether or not like I'm going to be healthy this weekend or not. Like this morning, like when I spoke a lot during classes, because I went to work this morning, I was like, no, I can feel it. Like my throat wants to it wants to give out. So I'm like, before that happens, I'm going to do my stream today. And then tomorrow, if I'm not okay, I can take the whole day off and then afterwards be okay for the week. So yeah, and there's still a lot of editing I have to do for another video. So I can take advantage of tomorrow to do that. It's a video that I've had already like recorded. It just needs to be edited. That July video is going to be tough. But yeah, how is everyone doing? Let me know in the chat. Let me know how you've been these past few days. If you're over here in Ecuador, shout me out from wherever you're at. You don't need to tell everyone if you don't want to, of course, where you're at, but you can shout out from the city you're at. And yeah, as a quick reminder for anyone who catches the VOD, the video that is created after this live stream ends. Remember, this is a live stream, which means we will be here at minimum, I think, at minimum 45 minutes. There's always, I like to always say an hour, but maybe because there isn't that much news, we can reduce it to 45 minutes today. But we do sometimes end up, talking a lot, so it could last a little bit more than that. So yeah, with that out of the way. Oh, Ryan, Canada, nice. How's the weather over there right now? Over here, I have the air on and it feels hot. Though then again, I'm just someone who always constantly feels like heat is my issue. So I'm gonna stop talking for a second. I want to, let's see here. I didn't check this earlier, so I don't have the capture. So specifically, I want this. Good. Perfect. Okay. Hi, Ace from Puerto Loco. Hello. Okay, there we go. So there's always extra pride when it comes to this. By the way, I was speaking, I just realized I forgot that I have to make sure to come back to the OBS studio because yes, it does look like when OBS studio gets closed down, you can't, the audio just stops working for some reason. It's like I can't control the audio and me being on the actual page at the same time. So let me go back to the page and then come back over here so I can go to the text. Hello. All right, there we go. So yeah, well, this is gonna be hard because I can't even read it on over here. I just know that Ecuador won the 5 Olympic gold medals, and I think everyone was really happy about that. I even got a comment on one of my previous videos, someone congratulating Ecuador because of that. Beyond Borders, hello. Hello, hello. I'm wondering if I can move this up. I can't. I'm kind of to the point where I want to like switch up the audio and just use the desktop audio, but then I'd have to be like this, like leaning in over here so you could hear me from the computer, and the audio is not going to sound this crisp. Let me see what I can do here. All right, so as it says over here, and I'm just kind of like moving the whole OBS down, the Ecuador delegation achieved the best participation in its history at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games with it says harvest, but it was, if I remember correctly, translated with a harvest of 5 medals, as many as it had achieved in the previous 15 appearances. Although from what I've been investigating, it's not like that. It's that this was the best that Ecuador has done. Ecuador had a brilliant presentation in Tokyo 2020. In fact, let me see if the audio is still working. Yes, it is. I'm going to go down. And I think I'll just make a focus on this one, which is probably the most important one to everyone, which was the gold medal. Not saying that there's any less importance to the other medals or any of the other achievements. It's just now I'm kind of panicking between going from the screen and being able to speak with the information on screen. But anyways, the reason I also want to highlight this gold medal is because it's in one of Ecuador's I would say best Olympic categories, best sports categories, which is what we call marcha here in Spanish, which is translated over here as race walk. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it in English. Like I don't because that's not a sport that I did or that I have a lot of interest in. But I am interested in the history, and that's where over here, as you can see, one of the people that everyone in Ecuador always idolizes when it comes to sports because of his Olympic gold medal victory is Jefferson Perez. Even when I was over here and I started training track because I'm an ex-track athlete, my specialties were long distance, mid distance, not really sprint. I would in the States, I ran the mile, and I also ran in like a group. If I remember correctly, I don't remember what it was called. But over here, I mainly ran kilometers, the 5 kilometers and the 10 kilometers. But yeah, it was weird when I came over here because what was long distance was not the mile over here. Mile is just like normal. The long distance was always 5 kilometers and above, and the training was rough. But yeah, as athletes during that time, we always heard about marcha and about Jefferson Perez. I had a friend on the team. His name is Eric. And he was always like, he was really disciplined, like when it came to training. He kind of like, as anyone, like a kid, like, liked to play around, but very disciplined when it came to training. And another reason why I did want to highlight the Olympics and sports as a whole, and why I'm giving some of my experience, is because I always remember the conditions of the federation, which for anyone who doesn't know, La Federación is the place where athletes pretty much they get to live at in order to train their sport. And in theory, they do get paid. But most of the time, it's like not good payment. I don't know what merits good payment in terms of sports, especially when you compare it to other countries. And since we're talking about Latin America, of course, Ecuador, maybe the conversion is a little bit different. But it was never really, like, from what I understood, like a great thing. Even when it came to transportation, sometimes they gave you enough to like take a bus or not even that. So it was kind of like, kind of doubtful. But in general, what I understand is that it's not just an Ecuador thing. It seems to be a Latin American thing where the support for athletes isn't the best. Yeah, sure, when they're athletes, like, yeah, everyone, like, oh, hey, you support them. But then afterwards in life, when they like retire, because apparently that's not something you can do forever unless you become a coach, then you kind of do it forever. um but if you can't, it's like you kind of get abandoned by the country. And I've seen videos from Mexico specifically. I could have sworn I found one in Ecuador a long time ago, but like I forgot where I left it. I think it, like, on Facebook I saw it. But basically the Mexico video I do remember. It was a person who used to like train a sport, and they were well known, super popular, but as soon as they stopped training it, like, they were pretty much abandoned by the country. So there's no, like, I guess you could say, retirement plan. You could say that's the fault of the athlete for not having a plan after they finish the sports. But like, if you represent your country the same way, like in the States, I heard the situation with retired military from the States, soldiers who, after they're retired, they're treated like, like you're not important anymore. So it feels like the same thing over here, but for athletes. I've never had a chance to really talk to a soldier over here who's been retired, but I mean, for everyone who wants to be a soldier, like for everyone to want to be a soldier over here, it feels kind of like, not everyone, but the people who are soldiers, it kind of feels like they've got their life set as soon as they're like, while they're in the military and once they're out. I can't guarantee that's the case, but that's the way it feels. I guess you could say a similar feeling to what people would have working in any military, since you assume that the government's going to take care of you afterwards. Uh, but just some things. Let me see if the audio, yes, the audio is still good. I just had to move the whole OBS studio down. I really need to resolve this situation though. Why? Okay, so let's move on. That was a situation with the Olympics. Of course, there's others that are also. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, there we go. Just making sure the audio came back. So I guess I will also, what do you call that? I'll also give a shout out, of course, to Lucia Yepes, who got the first medal in, it says the fight, but it's actually wrestling. It's just poorly translated here in the title. Oh, thank you, Alexandra. Appreciate it. Buy a coffee. It's funny that we talk about buy a coffee because one of the topics of today is Starbucks. Not going to be something in Puerto Viejo and not something that I would buy over here, but I will buy a coffee. And you just reminded me of something very embarrassing to me. I forgot to post the July update for the members. Once again, big shout out to the members for your support. Always appreciate it. And I completely forgot to post the update for July. I'm kind of like at the point where we're in the 17th, where I feel like maybe I should just mix the update, like July and August update in one, because yeah, I kind of dropped the ball on that one. I've been kind of busy with all the things that I've been doing. It's it feels like sometimes I'm not sure how to measure what is a lot and what is a little. But at least for me, in the way that I feel, it feels like I'm doing a lot with work. Even today, I got a message that I needed to open the platform that we have for the students again. So I had to do that. So it was like, I mean, it's Saturday and you just don't expect that. And I don't mind doing it. It's just something that like it follows me into the weekend. I don't know. It's a tough thing to say, but we do have good moments too. We have fun. It's just something that I remembered. But once again, I appreciate you, Alexandra. Thank you so much. Um, so I was over here. I was talking about the medal that was won. Lucia Yepes made history for Ecuador by winning the country's first Olympic medal in wrestling. Yepes, who last year won at the Santiago 2023 Pan American Games and bronze at the Belgrade World Championship, arrived number one in world ranking, secured the medal by beating Germany's Annika Wendel. I'm sorry if I butchered that. 10-0. I don't feel like I haven't, but you never know. Maybe that's pronounced differently. But unfortunately, she lost to Fujinami Akari, the reigning world champion. But I think everyone is just proud that, I think it's always the whole pride of winning medals. I even saw a part of Philip DeFranco's show where he talked about countries kind of like fighting over how do we determine if our performance was better than another country's. And basically, depending on the metrics, some countries ended up like in first, but then in other metrics, they ended up like in last if you measured it through that. So it's like, I think it's just I think every country should just be really happy that first they have someone out there to compete, someone who wants to represent the country, because sometimes like I just think about it in like the sense of like a school event. Like I don't know, maybe I'm under like not giving it the importance it needs, but like there are like when you want to ask students to participate, like not a lot of people want to participate. So maybe I'm just thinking about it from the point of view of a teacher. But but yeah, that is a thing, and I think people should be happy that they participated, even if they didn't win. Um, if you went out there and gave it your all, let's see here. Lisa, hi Ace. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, hello, Lisa, by the way. Go ahead and post July and August together. I know you're busy and it's cool with me. I appreciate it, Lisa. That's probably what I'm going to do. Although the funny thing is that the July update post, I mean, you could say that technically the video that I made in all of July, which is like a interesting cost of living video because it's like I think I've already spoiled this before, but I'll spoil it again. It's like a mix of cost of living and a month in my life. So it's a video that's so far through editing, it's about like 55 minutes long, maybe an hour, because it's literally just a whole bunch of moments in the month. And in order to get a cost of living, something realistic because it's my personal cost of living. Although, of course, the only thing that I find a little bit unrealistic about it is that I know it's not an every month cost of living. That's a bit of a spoiler because I guess it's a testament to how really like you spend unless you're very like robotic and always spend the same thing every month, like you have the same needs. Maybe you just buy things for the moment and not for long term, like then your cost of living becomes very like if you don't do that, it becomes very like erratic. Like this month, let's just assume like this month I could have 5 different birthday parties, and last month I might have had zero, and like I would go out 5 times this month and 0 times last month, so the price would totally change because I'd have to buy 5 gifts over here and last month I bought zero. So just a thing, just something to keep in mind when you see that video, because I find it to be an interesting thing when I was making it. But anyways, Ryan, everyone who had fun is a winner. I agree. I always have fun when I play American football over here. Just now because I don't have the time, and I feel like there's a lack of dedication. I've just stopped. Okay, so let's transition into some unfortunate news, I guess. Mhm. Okay, so audio is back. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so here it talks about a little bit about what we already know in the situation of crime. Um, I could go into the whole article, but the main focus I want to have on is this possibility of something like this happening. You do have to be careful when going on transportation, inner city transportation. I do talk about this a lot in general when I talk about safety because yeah, of course you can get on a bus and have everything be perfect, but I feel like it's just being on a bus is like putting yourself at risk because you don't know if everyone in the bus has the same good intentions. I hate to feel that way and to feel the negativity, but it's just something that happens. Jerry, hello from People Brazil. How's it going over in Brazil? Hope you're having a great time. So yeah, it's just something that goes back into the situation with Ecuador as a whole as well. Uh, Even though I will say it like this: these past few days, I've heard less about violent crime than I have been hearing these past few months and during this time, because even I think in the last two live streams, there was always something about sicariatos, and I could have found something about an unlifing attempt. By the way, unlifing is the vanilla version of you know the bad words that mean to end lives, because we need to avoid YouTube suppressing the stream. um, but anyways, there were a whole bunch of these things happening, whole bunch of unlifings, and now it feels like it's become a lot less than before, a lot less than it's been these past few weeks. That doesn't mean it's zero. It just means that it feels like at least the chaos that was really big has gone down a little bit. I don't know if this is the calm before another storm, but it just feels a little bit better for us to be the way we are now, like a little bit less crime. There's also something I almost forgot to mention, not crime related, but something that also made me happy during this week. When I was driving to work one morning, got on my motorcycle, drove to work, and I mentioned it in the video where I mentioned this. I always go through similar streets. Sometimes I'll take a different street because I want to change up the routine, a precaution. Um, but I went through the street, one of the typical streets I go through, and I remember saying there was a crater in the street, and they covered it. Like they covered some of the holes in the streets, and I was so happy. Like I've been wanting to just drive by, take a picture, and upload it into my community tab, and just say they finally listened to me. Like my complaints finally didn't fall on deaf ears. So it's like it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling in the morning. Like if my morning wasn't great, like that made my morning great. So yeah, there's something positive I wanted to mention. But yeah, the situation with crime, it hasn't ended. I don't want anyone to take this as my end all situation, because we're gonna look at the comment section from my "Should you visit Ecuador" video, because there are some comments that are a stark reminder that everyone's situation is not copy and paste. We do not all live the same reality. Um, Ryan, I'm fluent in YouTube censorship. Thank you for being fluent in that language, because sometimes I get the comment and I'm like, I don't know how to explain it other than, I mean, it's just to avoid censorship. To avoid not censorship, to avoid suppression. Beyond Borders, I was thinking these last 3 weeks about the YouTube censorship. Sounds like they have taken it to the extreme. Have you ever thought of switching to different social platform like Jolie Farms did? I just don't feel I can manage more than one platform. I know it would be easy to just take all my content and upload it to a different platform, um, but I'd need the time, the space. I'd need to dedicate a whole day to it, and then have to dedicate myself to like running it, because I know it feels like a very passive job. well, once you upload the video, it becomes passive. YouTube puts it out there, and everyone who watches it, of course, just helps grow the channel. But when you start a channel, you have to start it smart, upload videos at a certain rhythm. I mean, there's no guarantees that that'll work, of course. We always listen to YouTube gurus say, oh, upload once a day, upload once a week. But that's just really general advice to be consistent, because like there's no guarantee one of your videos are going to be great unless it just happens to hit at the right moment and find the right people. That's why my channel like really took a long time to grow, in my opinion. Like I just recently, by the way, congrats, we have passed 7,000 subscribers. I'm not celebrating it too much because today we have 7,000, maybe tomorrow 5 people were bots and we go back to 6,999. So I really don't want to like count my chickens before they hatch, because that's just the way sometimes it is on YouTube. I always like to assume that whatever number of subscribers I have, there's actually 5 or 10 less than that actual number. And that only about 10% faithfully watch all my videos. And 10% is being very optimistic, because I feel like if my videos were being watched by all my subscribers, I would have well, I would obviously have 7,000 views per video. So, you know, things that you come to learn about in YouTube. Let's see here. Jerry, I was in Natal for 3 days, Praia da Ponta Negra, and now extended my stay in Pipa, though, through August 31st, because Pipa is a beach paradise. The nightlife is quite pleasant, good restaurants with a cool breeze. I'm headed back into town, a 100-meter walk, soon to enjoy the Bosa Jazz Fest. 4 days of free music. Brilliant. I love it. It's always good to hear the experiences that everyone has in the country they're in, especially if it's not your native country, because it's good to let everyone, especially in the live chat, know that like what's happening in other countries and how it feels like in specific areas. I've mentioned it before, but sometimes people will say like, I had a great time in Ecuador, but they don't tell you the city. They don't tell you what time, what precautions they took, you know, certain specific things that, you know, might make a difference. Because if you say you had a great time and someone's like, oh, I'll go to Guayaquil and have a great time too. Yeah, they're probably not going to have a great time. I mean, you never know, but, you know, being realistic, they're probably not going to have a good time. So yeah, going on, Brazilian jazz is heaven. Cool. I need to listen to that. Beyond Borders seems that, from multiple channels I listen to, makes it a great effort to try and stay in compliance, but I understand why you don't want to change up. I mean, it's good to diversify. They always talk about diversification as part of the things that you have to do as a creator. I just really would want to have the time to do that and do it right. And there's also my problem, the perfectionism of wanting to do things right. I always feel like there's something I'm missing to be doing things right. Especially, and that's the crime of comparison, when I look at how other channels, like I've reached the 200 video threshold. I'm at 213 videos now, and most channels, I think, at 213 videos, they're at like at least at 10K subscribers. So this was also part of a conversation I had with one of my best friends last week. And we were talking about, you know, the channel, the growth, like what I have to do. And part of the conversation was the fact that I'm in such a specific niche in a country that doesn't value that niche. Like you could say, but you're in Ecuador. Ecuador should value Ecuador, but that's not it. people from Ecuador aren't looking for useful Ecuador content in English or realistic Ecuador content in English. In fact, when I talked to my friend about it, we came to the obvious conclusion. It's not even that's not how you say it. We came to the mutual conclusion that people here, they look for whatever gives you a quick laugh, and basically just that, like things that are just make you laugh or make you happy, and then like dopamine rush and you're gone. That's like it. So it's tough to grow on here, here in the country, and that's why my channel relies a lot on anyone who wants to visit and who wants realistic content, because there are people who, of course, they want Ecuador content, but they just want to see the, the beaches, the fun moments, or maybe a challenge. I mean, I do want to make a viral video like that. I don't even know if it would go viral, but like a video that like I do something that's tough, or that might be a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's just I haven't found the idea that would make sense for me. But anyways, going off into too much YouTube stuff, let's move on. Ah, yes, more unfortunate news. So I saw this post, like I think a day after it was posted, about the police controls near coast as a foreigner. And I like that it specifies the coast, because that's the complaint I've heard about the most in regards to police controls, to this whole situation with police corruption that I've mentioned before. And I always feel like there's someone out there like watching in the shadows, like, I don't believe you. Well, believe it. This is something that happens. So here's the story. I drove from Baños to the Montañita area, and at every police control point, I get asked for money for any random reason. Window tints, tire condition, and it's a rental car. And I mentioned this in my video, I think it was a driving video, where I said they'll stop you just because your tire is smooth. And I think people probably heard that and laughed and said, there's no way. They will stop you for anything if it means getting money out of you. They are targeting me because I am a foreigner. I had to pay over $100 just to get through. How can I avoid this going back? Certain routes, certain time. Do I have to legally stop? Does anyone have advice? This makes it really hard to ever want to visit the coast again, and I'm afraid to even drive around now that I'm here. I feel like there's two ways to really avoid this. One, just don't drive. If you don't drive, then they can't ever stop you. You take private transportation, which is safer in general. You take a taxi that's, official. You call it up and everything. You schedule it. I even took this service. I'm going to talk about it in the future. Mamporcar. It's actually part of my video. And that service takes you from one city to another. I also have family who do taxi services. So if you need a contact, I could probably help if, very specific cities, but, let me know. But yeah, that's the first way. The second way you can avoid it is to hide that you're a foreigner, which is, it's not easy, but I remember we were talking the last live stream. The person who was going to visit, I can't remember their name, I'm sorry. They were going to visit their girlfriend's family. And my suggestion was you put a hoodie on and you just act like you're the cousin of someone else. So you could disguise yourself, I'm not sure what the best way to disguise yourself would be sometimes. Put on makeup, a mustache. I don't know. It's just disguising yourself, because really, I don't think all police are corrupt, but since a lot of them are, for me to tell you, like, just drive and you'll be fine, that was just bad luck on the part of this person, wouldn't be realistic, to be honest, because it's not just bad luck. So This was the comment that was the most liked. You can evade them by driving early or late. My problem with that is that driving late is dangerous. Driving early, I have mixed thoughts on that one. If you have to drive on peak hours, a good rental car, get a dash cam, have a camera that was like that, records what's happening. So that way you do this, here's my evidence, and you're the one who looks bad. And or you could even be very like direct and be like, all right, sure, officer, I'm recording, by the way. That would be funny, because people here really don't like to be called out on the things that they're doing. So it's like, if you tell them that you're recording, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, or they might get mad. Oh, why are you recording? But yeah, if it's a good driving condition, you can prove the footage with a dash cam. Let's see here. If the car is a rental, that's also funny, because the owner is going to have to take care of it. So, give them the ticket. Too bad for the owner. Makes me sad, but at the same time, pretty funny. And over here, the TLDR. Disculpe, caballero. No tengo dinero. Haga nomás la citación. Which is basically, sorry, officer or gentleman, I don't have money. Just make the ticket. Just write the ticket. Let's see here. Going into the comments, Jerry, Grumpy Gringo Don Shader, sounded like he was quitting YouTube and then immediately came back with back-to-back awesome podcasts. Don makes me out. Yeah, I actually ended up seeing his second episode before I heard the first one. I haven't had a chance to hear the first one yet. But I was like, oh my God, Don is back, because I got a notification on my phone. And I was like, I knew Don wasn't going to leave completely. I just think he's taking his time to find a way to do it, YouTube, in a way that he feels comfortable doing it right now. Let's see here. Ryan, I was thinking tan makeup. Something like Ace skin color. Let's see here. Jerry, our van driver traveling from Secret Garden Cotopaxi to Secret Garden Quito got stopped. I'm not sure how much it cost him, low tires, but it was 20 minutes of fear for us riding in the van. I mean, it's just that the reasoning is sometimes so dumb, and it's unfair because you see that they let people without helmets pass by because they look kind of suspicious. I always complain about that. I remember because it happened to me once. We were stopped for like, at a checkpoint. We were stopped like, normal, like we were just driving. I had my license, everything was in order. And we saw two guys who looked kind of, like shifty, and they didn't stop them. They didn't even have helmets on. So it's like, they're literally committing a crime in your face. Stop them. Don Shader! What's up, brother? Hello from Ayampe. I hope you're enjoying Ayampe, brother. Everyone, please say hello to the man in the chat, Don Shader. So, moving on with the comments, don't forget to say that hello, guys. If he wants to drive, it is a risk he must take. If he was in the States, he could get the officer's name and turn him into his superiors if he were in the States. I think there was a comment somewhere around here, or maybe in a different post, that someone was saying that it's like you can't really do anything because the police are corrupt. They're like, you can complain, you can be angry, but like that's not going to change anything, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just a frustrating thing. Let's see here. Jerry, Checkpoint Charlie corruption, I swear. Like for real. Lisa, Law, I saw that with Don Shader. I listened to his first podcast and I liked it. I'm still waiting to listen to the first one. Don't worry, brother. I'll be taking advantage of the time that I have either later today or tomorrow to listen. Let's see here. I do believe it is 3 now, but may be mistaken. It's cool and cloudy. That's great. Over here, it looks kind of like the sun's gone down, but I still feel like toasty. Good, guys. Everyone saying what's up. Once again, hope you're having a great time, brother. But yeah, I will move on from this one. Don't forget, anyone who didn't know what TLDR was, too long, didn't read. It's just a summary of everything that was here. Basically, either you accept the ticket or you just, don't. I think someone even said that if you leave the country, it's not even going to matter if you get a ticket. So, I guess it depends on your on your values. All right, but moving on. I like this one because this one is like a vocabulary kind of thing, and a little chance to learn some more Spanish with Ace. Let's see here. Beyond Borders. I thought the officers were better taken care of now as part of the EVA tax increase. I kind of feel like it's irrelevant how well they're taken care of, because if anyone can get a chance to get more money, I feel like they're always going to do it. At this point, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's not even just people here. This should be a podcast episode. It's not even just people here, but like if there's a chance for someone to earn some extra cash, like they're going to do it. That's why I've always had this bad, like, it's not an experience, but this bad feeling, this weird sensation that I shouldn't do things for money, because it's just a desire to help. And that's why I'm always like, I don't know how much to charge for certain things. I'm always doubtful on prices and stuff like that. And very understanding with a lot of things like that. But realistically, if I look around, like there's very few people who I see that do things and they don't undervalue their work. They value it very much. Where if they have a chance to sell something or if they have a chance to make a profit, they'll do it. Like I've said before, I'd accept a sponsor, but only if it aligns with who I am and if I know it's going to be helpful to someone who's watching my videos. I did get an offer again from someone who I had gotten an offer from before, but this is kind of a backstory that I haven't talked about. But when I talked to the person and I had accepted the offer, and I told them that, but how is the payment going to happen, because it's kind of complicated over here, they never gave me an answer, and it just kind of like ended there. And it wasn't even like a huge value. It's a big value compared to what I typically earn, but it wasn't like a huge value to say like for them to just disappear like that. It was weird. Let's see here. Jerry, Don, I loved your new pods. I truly love the beaches in the northeast of Brazil. I have not felt threatened at all in either Natal or Pipa. Don, sounds like you know where you got to visit next. Hey there, Grumpy. I think your podcasts are a good idea. Beyond Borders, pricing for your time and or knowledge is based on what you feel it is worth. That's kind of the conclusion I was coming to when I was watching one of Roberto Blake's videos, because I typically watch his videos in order to understand certain things, especially because he talks about them more like he gives chance undervalue yourself, and you should always have, like, I guess you would call it, I think it was a media kit that he called it. Basically, this is what I can do, and these are the prices for the different things I can do. And it was just an interesting concept to me because it's just something I've never done before, and I feel like over here it's just a lot more confusing. And once again, over here, I don't get that kind of offer, I think, because my channel doesn't align with what people here are looking for. People here are looking for entertainment. So they don't really like, no one's going to come to my video, I think, recommending a small kind of, hold up, what happened over here? Recommending, who knows, like something small, like some kind of like small business that's specific to my city, because they don't live in this city. The people watching don't live in this city. So it's like, it's just my assumption, of course, but it just kind of feels like that's the analysis that people who, if I were to talk to them, they wouldn't like sponsor me for that. I'd need to find something more international. Jerry Ace, when I was in Ecuador and described a bad thing to a Quechua person, male or female, they would respond with chota. There is a Chota Valley in Ecuador, but in this context, does it mean damn? I think it's just in a whole bunch of different contexts. It's just like an extra word. I remember hearing it before, and I don't know what it exactly means either. But it's like you could say like que chota, like how would you express that? Like I feel like it's the bet nowadays in that context. It can also mean something like dumb, the way that I interpret it. Like esa cosa sí que es chota. It's like that thing is chota. That thing is like dumb. But of course, that's my interpretation. I haven't gone too deeply into this word because it's a word that I've just recently started hearing being used a lot. So I'll have to look into it some more. In the terms of, in this post that we have here from Reddit, ¿qué significa que te hagan cerebro? What does it mean? Make brain. And also the word visaje. We have talked about visaje here before. It's kind of like telling someone that that thing is dangerous. But when it comes to hagan cerebro, it kind of feels like they're analyzing you or analyzing the price of a specific thing. For example, here, this person says, te hacen cerebro, they're analyzing you. But visaje, in the context that they're using it here, it feels like it's not the same as the one that I've heard of all the time. Jerry, like taking a horse up the crater of Quilotoa, the horse guy charged me double. ¿Por qué eres gordo? I told my Airbnb host the story, and she was incredulous and said chota. Are you sure they didn't say chuta? Chuta? Let me see here. Chuta? Daniel, hello Ace. ¿Qué lo que, bro? What's going on? How's it going, Daniel? Like I always hear chuta a lot more because chuta is like a more common word over here. Whenever you express like damn. Of course, there's the more vulgar version that ends in CHA, chu. But I don't use that one. I'll sometimes say chuta or be like, just like, smack my lips like, or like, how do you say that? I don't remember how you say it in English, but I'll be like, but yeah, I won't like, I don't really use the bad version of the word. But yeah, with hacer cerebro, it kind of feels like they're like analyzing you or they're trying to analyze you. And visaje, typically referring to something dangerous. Maybe it's chuta. Maybe. Alexandra, isn't chota a slang for snitch? I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you right now because it's still a word that's a little bit new to me. I've heard it used more frequently nowadays, which is why I've even been curious about it. But I'll have to ask around well about that one because I don't want to get it wrong. The perfection is just, how do you say it? It's too much. Okay, so looking at the next post that we have over here, we have this moving to Cumbaya as a Russian, what to expect. Honestly, I won't say like I know the most about Cumbaya. My cousin, when she talked to me about it, it was like the fancy part of Quito. And that's all I know about it. It's like the really nice part, the high life over there, all the best parties and everything. But I wanted to focus on the racketeering issue because, like I mentioned before, like there is still extortion going on, and I have heard that Cumbaya has been subject to this more. So it's like because it's like a fancy place, so it's better to target there because you know that people have money if they go there. That also reminds me is something I forgot to mention in my should you visit Ecuador video. You do have to realize I mentioned it before. That's probably why I didn't mention it at the moment. But you have to realize that in the holiday season, criminals have the assumption that people are gonna come here to spend money. So they do crime supposedly ramps up a little bit during the holiday season, but it's more petty crime. And I always say that that's very avoidable, taking the necessary precautions. I feel like my throat's giving out. All right, there we go. I feel like this was one of the more potent comments, especially since it got the most likes. Here, uh, oh, but oh, TTT, hello, thank you very much for the dono. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support always. Like I was saying, this is one of the ones that like was most liked. It was the one that was most liked, and they pretty much mentioned the same thing that my cousin had mentioned to me. It's a very nice area. Just that this person also mentions that COVID ruined the plan that they had to like marry and stay living in Moscow. And it just makes mention of some of the important things that you can see over in Cumbaya. But you know, it's just something in terms of the city itself. We tend to talk about places that you should go to live or visit, and I feel like Cumbaya is a very nice place if you have the money for it. The thing is, that's where we go back to if you have the money for it, because people, I feel like they're always looking for the most budget options, and Cumbaya is definitely not a budget option. If it's an expensive place for Ecuadorians, even if it's cheap in comparison to the States, it's still going to be expensive for someone who's looking for something cheaper. But yeah, after that, I did want to show this, which I thought was pretty funny. Bolones are better than croissant. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, Julia. You can you can let us know, but and you can let us know if this is true. Are bolones better than a croissant? I mean, I love bolon de chicharrón. I think it's great, but I don't know if it would be better than you know than the croissant. I'll let you guys be the judges of that one. Beyond Borders, I just looked it up on Translator. What did you find? Jerry, YouTuber Fall Off the Map, was very critical of Cumbaya. He felt that it was fallen significantly of late and is no longer safe. That's unfortunate. I feel like it's just, I think it's like I said, it's probably because it's being targeted due to, one, obviously crime being here in Ecuador right now, but two, because it's just a place that's, you're guaranteed to find people with money there, is the assumption that you would have. I mean, I don't even live there, and I assume that there's people with money there. So you can imagine what a criminal would think. Ryan, I'm looking up the words too. Good. I like that this becomes a little bit of a vocabulary class where we can also learn a little bit of Spanish. So yeah, any thoughts on the bolones being better than croissants? Let me know. The answer was before that. Hold up, I didn't see it. I didn't see that. Okay, Spanish chota is a foul use of the oh, okay. Okay, okay. Which is weird because I know there's a more prominent word for that. But I'm guessing we're getting into more complicated things now, using new vocabulary to express already vulgar things. So I found this. I had seen this. Ecuador slams vice president's gender complaint against President Noboa as coup attempt. I don't I don't necessarily want to go too much into this because I feel like it's just one of those things that's meant to stir up trouble. But apparently, Veronica Abad, the vice president, wasn't happy about like the way Noboa has been treating her in her position. So she's like calling it kind of a, how would you say it? Uh, I'm not sure how to express it, but like she's attributing it to apparently gender, and it's just a weird thing to complain about. I do get that at the beginning, uh, she was sent to the to be an ambassador of Israel, and I think she wasn't happy about that. And a lot of people were kind of surprised, but I could have sworn I remember hearing people say that that was a good thing. But I guess she wasn't happy about it, like kind of a way of getting rid of her. I guess she was what she felt, but I didn't look too much into it. And I just think, like it says here, it's a desperate and shameful effort to destabilize the government. But yeah, don't have much to say on that, so I will move on. Miss Grassroots, Ace, would you do some Spanish learning videos? I actually did one, and unfortunately, it didn't get the reception that I would have liked it to get. I guess it's because my channel isn't 100% oriented into learning Spanish, even though we do cover things that help learn Spanish. I have, I think, 3 videos for learning Spanish. One is literally tips to learn Spanish. I can't remember if that was the name, but it's regarding that. Another is a reaction video of a Spanish YouTube channel that's very popular. And then there's another video. I can't remember if that was just a live stream where I also react and pretty much explain Spanish vocabulary. So I can't really specifically make videos for that, but I will try to continue to make the polls, the quizzes actually that I've been making during these last few weeks, so that everyone can practice and learn a little bit more vocabulary in Spanish whenever they have some free time and they check the community tab. Daniel, in Ecuador, what would you do if a stranger knocked on your door late at night in an Airbnb you just arrived in? Not answer. Call the police. Run. I definitely, well, first, I definitely wouldn't answer because it would be sus. Although it depends on how naive I was feeling at that moment. Because if I was feeling really naive, I would think, oh, maybe it's just a welcoming party, someone who the owner of the Airbnb of the area where the Airbnb is, a friendly neighbor coming to say hi. If I wanted to be really naive. But knowing the situation in the country, what it's like, I probably wouldn't answer. Like leave the naivety to the side, just no answer. Beyond Borders, he's going to replace her in the next campaign for president. Jerry in Houston, my car was broken into 3 times. Twice in the old money part of town, River Oaks. Once just west of downtown in a wealthy area. Crooks hit the wealthiest area. $3,000 down the drain. I'm not surprised. I do hear that theft in cars is a lot more common in the States, Over here, yeah, there are people who break into your car, but most of the time that would only happen if you leave it in a very precarious place. Like you have to like be looking for someone to rob your car. So it's like that's why most people will always either opt to leave it where there's a car cuidacarros, the car guards, the guys who check out the cars, the vehicles, or they'll leave it in a parking lot, or they'll just you're in the restaurant and you're watching your car from a distance. Ryan, I've liked the quizzes. I try my best guessing. It's good. I don't mind because obviously I have no power over what everyone does. If you look up the answer, because it also means you're putting in a little bit of extra effort to find out, try to guess the answer. But if you're doing it on your own and just using the information that you know, I think that's great too. Miss Grassroots, okay, I'll check them out. Cool. Daniel, I think I would ask what they want because they can try to forcefully enter. I wouldn't open the door though. I guess as long as there's a way to communicate through the door without opening it, then yeah, that might be a good alternative instead of going the full 100%. Yeah, I'm not answering the door. So anyways, I did want to talk about Starbucks because originally it was set to open in July from what I had read, and now it was held to launch on the 14th. I don't know if it has. I saw some pictures of people lining up, and the main thing I saw was the conversation about, well, the main thing that really mattered to me was the conversation about opening a Starbucks over here. What I want to say in regards to that, I don't mind it because it's literally like someone said, you're creating more job opportunities for other people. Oh, sorry about that. Instead of bringing down big businesses for trying to, monetize, and I don't know if monetize is the right word, for trying to make a profit in a foreign country, in like a, third world country. Like it's better to look at them like, oh, you're bringing jobs over here, you're making the economy move. It's a good thing. I remember I talk about this because I remember we had a conversation about Walmart before, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that. But now I'm a little bit more on the side of anything that brings money into the country and helps is great. I don't want to go to the extreme. Like I remember I recently saw Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and he talked about Hawaii, how they make such a heavy emphasis on tourism that it hurts the lives of people living in Hawaii. And you can already guess, I thought immediately of the situation over here in Ecuador and gentrification that I've heard about a bit before. And while no one talks about it, I'm pretty sure if we started seeing significant changes in prices, if things started becoming extraordinarily expensive, more than they already are for people who live and work here, then people would complain. People already complain, but they would complain more. So I like the idea of a business coming and giving people more jobs. What I'm not too much of a fan of maybe is the idea, the concept of everyone always trying to outcompete each other. But then again, that's just me going against the norm, because the norm is for people to compete. In fact, it's better for consumers if there's more options, because that just means everyone has to make the best product, and the consumer always wins if the companies are trying to make a good product. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the situation. I like the idea that there's a Starbucks, and unless I go to Quito or a big city, I'll probably never get to try it to see what it's like, because I haven't had Starbucks since I was in the States. Because over here they do sell like these cans of Starbucks like coffee, but like 4 cans cost like $20, and yeah, I'm not spending $20 on 4 cans. At Beyond Borders, I also read on El Universo that Noboa let go one of the cabinet ministers and also added 3 new members this week. A lot of shuffling tells me he is planning a strong re-election stance. I wouldn't doubt that. I just hope that the people don't let the bad things overpower the idea that I talked about before. We're in a very short presidential term. Of course, Noboa can't fix everything in a year and a half. We need to give him the time to do good things. Don't judge him for the short amount of time he's been here. Judge him once you realize that his plan is, this is just the beginning, and there's still a lot he needs to do. Daniel, yes, it would create job opportunities. I know some people argue against it as it harms small vendors. However, this stimulates the economy. The situation with small vendors is always something that hurts me a lot because I feel like my dad is a small vendor, and it's just not always the best. But I also realize that my dad, we don't have the success that I would think that we should have because one, maybe we don't have the best location, the best store shop for what he does. Two, we're really bad at marketing. Like right now, everything is digital, and if you know how to market really well, you could sell the worst product, but you'll sell a lot of that product. So we're really bad at that. And three, of course, we're in a city where people are kind of like picky about what they're going to spend money on. In general, that feels like an Ecuador thing all over, like just in general, because it's like everyone wants something that's really good, but they want it to be really cheap. That's why encebollado is so popular. $2, $2.50 for a dish that fills you up and tastes like the next best thing since sliced bread. I mean, come on. So, you know, I have those thoughts sometimes. Beyond borders, yes, everyone complains when prices go up. However, that usually means a higher income for most people and a larger GDP for the economy. I can get why people would complain, especially when we talk about the lower and middle classes. Like for me, it's never convenient when there's a price increase, and I feel like I've been feeling that with the gas because part of the video that I made kind of showed me that gas prices, the EVA increase has had an effect. I can't fully fill my tank now or even come close to what I used to before. This is gonna be like my live version of live reactions. Looks like Don Shader is giving up on posting videos about Ecuador, and I can understand his trepidations. I think you both do great service for us visiting such a wonderful country, despite drawbacks and risks. I thank you very much, Brian. And as we know now, future, Don has not given up on making videos. He's just doing them a little bit differently. Red Point, which by the way is not here today, but I hope they're doing well, visited Ecuador in December and then lived locally in Quito for about 6 weeks in May and June. It was absolute great time, and I'm trying to figure out how to move over. For those thinking of visiting, it's an amazing place, and Ace's comment about using common sense is a really good approach. It just feels like the most logical comment all the time. And that's why sometimes I know there's a lot of people who ask me, Ace, I want an update video. Can you update me on the situation? But it would feel like I would just be milking the algorithm, the system, by making videos talking about the same things. Because the situation, unless it drastically changes, I don't like making a video to waste people's time. Like it has to be something that I feel like we have to talk about. Like the video talking about the should you visit Ecuador? That was like supposed to be my 6-month update, and we're on the 8th month of the year. So it's late. But not because I wanted it to be late. I just haven't had the time. Also, congratulations on the Olympic medals. Woo! My throat's starting to give out, so I think after this, I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll be on our way. From Magnus. Hold up, I forgot. Thank you, Ace. I want to come right now, but I can't. It's on my list. Cheers from Sweden. Cheers to you too, Magnus. Hope you can come soon. Thanks for the updates, info, and links. Alvi is a new find for me, and I'm a bit surprised YouTube has never recommended it. Realize YouTube doesn't recommend things the way that you want it to sometimes. Like, for example, here's a video that I didn't even know Living Loving Abroad had made, and now I see it. Like, come on. Although I will say that I saw a video where they were doing a competition, Living Loving Abroad, with some friends of theirs, and I thought it was really cool. And I was like, I wanted to be a part of that. But yeah, just as interesting to me, if not more, are the experiences, views, and impressions of non-Ecuadorian Latin American YouTubers who visit Ecuador. Many are young travelers in vans and motorcycles from places such as Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Peru, obviously a much different age range and demographic than the US-Canada retiree group. A different view of the elephant. I would love to interview some people who have visited, who also do YouTube or some kind of social media, or just in general, interview more people. I just need the time for it. Let me see. Beyond borders, the problem with Walmart, most people, small farmer tiendas, will go under and they will not have anywhere to turn to for income in Ecuador. I may be wrong, but I don't think they have welfare there. I kind of feel like the small farmers would never fail just because a lot of people have a lot of faith in the mercados. And that's where the small farmers typically target. So unless people just like instantly shift over to Walmart, and like even people who have been long time all their life mercado goers like decide to go to Walmart, like unless that happens, the mercado will never die. I think small farmers will be okay, with some exceptions, of course. And of course, I am speculatively talking, but I do kind of feel like they would be fine. I wonder how the insecurity in La Sierra compares with the potential for harm or death in the big cities of the US. You've obviously lived in the States and know the score. I would say that when it comes to insecurity, at least in La Sierra, in the highlands, one of the things that I really like, and my dad talked to me about it once, is the idea that in the highlands, there's a lot more unity in fighting against like violence or crime. Like if someone tries to steal in the highlands and people like see that, they will try to stop the crime. Like there's a unity where they stop the crime and they unlife the criminal. So it's a lot more aggressive over there, and it feels like there's a certain sense of unity. Though I did hear a very opposite comment to that the other day from someone saying that in the highlands, a lot of people just mind their own business. But I don't know if that's just gonna depend from place to place in the highlands. But at least from what my dad said, it just feels like a really interesting thing of like people actually fighting for each other and helping each other out. Did the audio cut out by any chance? Because I just realized that I was scrolling down and the audio might have cut out. But anyways, my first thought is that it disrupts any automated review process. And pretty much. I think that the way that YouTube looks at it, if they see something really strange, like really dark and negative in YouTube's terms, they start suppressing the video. I don't love talking about YouTube suppresses videos. Is the sound back? Are we good with sound? Are we good? Everything all right? I can hear you now. Magic, hello. I love the idea of Mercado shopping. El Mercado is undefeated. I love him. Walmart shall not prevail. I love it. I love it. Okay. The police won't stop it or solve it. You can really give a rat's booty that some visiting gringo or expat is a target. Believe it or not, I feel like they care more about foreigners than about people here. Unless it's family, of course. But it's kind of like, because if the perspective of someone who has something happen to them from another country is negative, like, what do you think people who see that are going to think? Like, if an expat is targeted and they tell another expat about their circumstance, it's going to spread to the expat community and it's going to kill tourism, which people don't want. Okay, you're back. Excellent. Alejandra, hello. Buenas tardes, Magic. All right. Let's go down a little bit. Hello. Hello. Woo. Okay. It is so shocking that such things exist that you can't travel freely. I know. It's a terrible thing, but I think realistically, I always make a little mention of this. In all countries, there is going to be some kind of peril, some less than others. It's just a matter of what you can put up with and how prepared you are. Hello, Camila. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Let's see here. This was a comment I remember reading, and I was like, that curfew list is an extremely incomplete list of areas to avoid. I really agreed with that part. I was actually very surprised when in the list, they didn't include Manabi, because when you hear about danger over here, Manabi just tends to be like number one for danger. So it was weird to not see Manabi included in the list. I mean, I was happy because, like, hey, Manabi maybe got a little bit safer, but I was very surprised. Let's see here. Oh, well, we have this comment again. When you hide, delete, or allow comments to remain in spam, you are not neutral as you claim. Once again, I do not hide, delete any comments. I think I saw 1 or 2 comments in spam the other day, and they were in spam because they were insulting. They were like, not like I felt insulted, but they were so negative, like it was an insult. They literally used slang terms. And I was like, well, of course you're in the spam folder if you're using slang terms. And especially if you're attacking people that I know. I was gonna move it over, but when I saw that it was slang term and attacking my friends because it was on one of these videos, pretty much calling them dumb, but in worse words, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. So we'll move on over here. Oh wait, over here, this one. Though Safety Wing is a good insurance, how does Safety Wing help when you have to pay the bill up front, then get reimbursed later? Who has thousands of dollars available as these medical facilities in Ecuador are holding people and babies hostage? I remember seeing this comment, And I remember I thought about this because someone told me about that. No, I saw it on Reddit and I was surprised. And I talked to my friend about this, about the holding people and babies hostage, because that did happen. I think it was in Cuenca. And the person whose baby was, like the baby that was being held because the people didn't pay, I think the baby died. And it was, ooh, man. It's kind of a controversial thing because while I don't like what they did, it was kind of like terrible that that they would hold the baby, like that they would hold the baby, but it's also terrible that the mentality here from people here is that if you don't do something extreme, people will never pay you. And obviously I'm not for the idea of holding the baby hostage, but it's like for them to think that that extreme was necessary just shows how bad the situation is with a situation like that, with payments, with the trust you can have towards people. Beyond Borders, are you running 2 streams? I am not. The way that I do this, that I run my stream, is that I use my phone with this thing called VDO to be able to project my screen over here. Like it'll give me like a screen so I can put it into OBS. But if I turn on my desktop audio, it's gonna echo. That's why I have desktop audio off. But if I leave OBS and I just like start going onto like the normal screen over here, then it cuts off the audio for some reason. And this was another thing that I read from a kind of distance. 2 guys and 2 women kidnapped in Puerto Lopez. Their bodies found in Manglarato 2 days later. A corpse discovered last week in Puerto Lopez. Here in Manta, we have these bad things all over the place. And it just goes on and on. Honestly, the end, stay away, this place is going down the drain fast. The main reason why I can't ever, like, I can say don't visit Ecuador. In fact, originally when I made my Should You Visit Ecuador video, like the first script for that video was, I don't think you should visit Ecuador. Like I was going to say, no, don't visit Ecuador. But then, like I mentioned in this live stream, I've heard less about the sicariatos, maybe because people are just getting used to them. Every day I go out to work, whenever I have to drive around the city, I don't necessarily see people getting like shot like all over the place. It's like there's no there it's I've mentioned this before. Ecuador is not a war zone. Ecuador is not in so much danger that you walk out into the street and you're instantly shot. Like oh, there are people shooting like people in bandanas with like Rambo style like guns, AKs and something like it's not that bad. There are places that are literally undergoing war. I'm sorry for those places. It's unfortunate, but there are places that are literally going through war. And over here, I think we have to be happy with how things haven't escalated to that point. Yes, there is crime, but in what part of the world is there no crime other than Switzerland? Because I know my Swiss friends will tell me Switzerland is perfect. But in what part of the world is it so perfect that you think of Ecuador like as the worst possible thing ever? Ecuador has crime, and every part of the world is going to have it. And that's why I said you have to be willing to put up with certain things. But does that mean you can't visit? No, I don't think so. Does it mean you should be careful when you visit? Yes. Do I think that maybe living here is not the best idea? depends on where you're gonna live. So there's just a lot of things to look at in that regards. But I always think that either way, no matter what I say, like I can tell you don't come, don't live here, don't visit. But there's gonna be people who are gonna do it anyways. And that's okay. You know, more power to you. I don't think you should ever let anything deter you. Nothing deter you from doing something that you truly want to do. And yeah, I think that's all I'm going to talk about for now. Because my throat's starting to get scratchy. I did want to, I did want to do a final mention of some of the things that happened last week. By the way, last week, I was super sick. Like literally, there's a virus going around over here. Apparently, that's what they've told me in terms of that. At the school where I'm working at, so everyone's been getting like sick. And last week, it's been like years, but last week I threw up. Like it felt like my soul was leaving my body. It was terrible. I'm better now, of course, but I have felt like rumbly in my tummy this week. What else? Something else I wanted to mention. There has been some talk about like COVID part two now, another kind of pandemic that might happen. Um, I don't think it's going to be the same as the previous COVID because we've learned from the previous COVID. If something like that does happen, then there's probably going to be some changes to some things. We'll have to see. We have to see how this advances. There's no guarantee about that. Like I said, it's just kind of part of the rumor mill based on how people have been getting sick. And also this morning, one of my students even told me that in Argentina, there's been some cases of some, like the next variant or something powerful. So, you know. Beyond borders, they are holding the baby hostage and the law allows it. Remember, I don't want to say Ecuador is lawless, but you know, people kind of make their own rules with some things. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry about that. I forgot that I have to keep the OBS studio on. If not, the audio goes away. I'm gonna play around with this one of these days and find the right way to keep the audio. I apologize, everyone. That was a me error. Hold up, let me see here. I forgot to keep the OBS open. I'm gonna find a way to not have to keep OBS open. Yeah, that was a very wasted answer. Sorry about that. So yeah, like I was saying, basically, there are just some things that don't make sense that happen here. There's no real explanation for it, other than like a certain amount of lawlessness where people feel like they have to do things in order to get the result that they want, and the ability to do those things because people know that the law is incompetent over here. By the way, hello John Doe. How's it going? So it's just things. Um Ryan, the food sounds so much better there, worth some danger. I mean, like I said, if you're very cautious and you do things like right, you take the necessary precautions, I don't ever think danger is going to be a thing that you have to worry about. I'm going to knock on wood before I say, of course, that, I mean, I have my own ways to stay safe, and I think they've done good. Once again, keep knocking on wood. But of course, there's no guarantee. You never really know. Yorez, you made it for the end of the stream. Nice to see you. So yeah, other than that, I did want to mention I'll try to have my newest video out soon. It's like I said, it's kind of like a mix of cost of living and a month in my life. I think it's interesting. It's going to be a fun video. It's not going to be for everyone because people, I think they want shorter videos. I think they want answers that are more specific to their lives. But realize that unless I'm you, our situation is never going to be the same. It's going to be similar. Like if we all live in the same city and stuff like that, we're going to have similar answers. But the reason for my video, at least that one and the one that I made about the shopping in Supermaxi, was just to give a general idea so that you can think of what things are going to be like when you're over here. If you plan on spending less, of course, you spend less. You do things differently, so that way it's like you spend less. But you know, spending is going to be a thing that's going to vary from person to person. So, you know, just want you to keep that in mind when that new video comes out. Members, I'm speaking directly to you at this moment. Thank you very much. I think some of you already saw the video with what happened with the trip that I had planned for Dad. Once again, I appreciate you for that, because definitely makes a big difference with his stress. I've noticed Dad a little bit more calm these days, because I think that really reduced a lot of the stress that he had. It didn't eliminate it, of course, but every little help means a lot. And not even little help, that was a big help. Every big help just makes that much bigger of a difference. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything anyone would like to ask before we cut the stream, because my throat is just not good. I don't know if I should just make a bowl of water with lemon, but it feels bad. So if there are no questions, either way, I will always be open to getting any emails. If you want to ask something, if it's something I can immediately answer, then I'll answer. If it's a little bit more complex, I might not be able to answer. So, you know, either way, I'll be on the lookout for any emails. John Doe, planning on visiting Ecuador for the first time next year. Excellent. Looking for a place to retire and volunteer in a few years. It's nice to hear real, true news about safety. We will be having a future conversation with Luis of Ecuador to talk a little bit about Cuenca. I just need to coordinate with him. So a little bit of a spoiler for everyone who was here today up to this point. That is something we're planning on doing. So I'm happy that this content helps you. Thank you very much for checking it out. Beyond Borders, did he take the trip? No. He basically diverted the funds to be able to pay off some things that were more urgent than the trip, at least in his mind, which is why he's a little bit less stressed, because it's always like him trying to think of, how am I going to get money to pay for this thing when I also have to pay for this thing? Should I make a loan in order to pay for this thing? It's kind of like that. So that really, the money helped out a lot. And I feel like the trip would have been nice. It would have unstressed him for maybe like a day or two, but then he would have just gone back to immediate stress once that was up. So definitely happy that the money was able to help him out. So I really appreciate it. So yeah, if there are no other questions, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. I appreciate your time. Make sure to like the live stream. If you're not subscribed, then what are you waiting for? Of course, check out some of my other content that we have on the channel. There are a lot of videos that maybe you haven't watched because they haven't gone into the algorithm. If you're interested in the Spanish teaching, there are some videos about that. Approximately 2 or 3 maybe specific to that. But definitely check those out. If you want to support me further than just, watching the videos, I appreciate anyone who gives donations or becomes a member. It's not necessary. It's not obligatory, but I do appreciate it always. And yeah, I hope you have an excellent time. Beyond Borders, either way, it is good if he is less stressed. Definitely. Believe me. I felt him a lot more relaxed. It's not going to completely go away, of course, because there's a lot of things that we have to do to remove the stress, but at least every little bit counts. If I see him a little bit better, it just makes me feel like we're making a difference. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for your time. Hola, Al Cubo, how's it going? Saludos. And also, despedidas. Hello and goodbye, because the stream is actually ending right now. So once again, thank you for being here. We will see each other. I can't guarantee in 2 weeks. I kind of also wanted to talk a little bit about that. Right now, news has been kind of like not so much news. So unless something really big happens, I feel like having a live stream would waste people's time. If you just want to hang out and talk like this, then let me know. I would love that too. It would be really cool if we had like a gaming day. I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, definitely let me know if there's something you would like to see in the streams when there is no news, because if not, I don't want to make a stream to waste your time. So yeah, I appreciate you being here. Have an excellent day, of course. Beyond Borders, I have read many experts' messages that most people are more stressed after a vacation that lasts less than 4 weeks or longer. So we need to give him a long vacation, or a short enough one where he feels better. Al Cubo, yo estuve en la directa, pero el teclado estaba roto. Oh, okay, no worries. It's okay. Later, take care. Beyond Borders, Daniel, Al Cubo, Ryan, Yoris, John Doe, have an excellent day. Julia, not sure if you're still there. Magic, Jerry, thank you for being here. Alejandra, Camila, thank you for being here. Miss Grassroots, and everyone else who's here, take care.